Boy, oh boy, have these series tightened up, Will. Let's talk about it, brother. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 53 of Bringing the Heat. My name's Cody Pite. With me, as always, the four-seam fastball co-host, Will Sism. Man, oh man. It's going down, dude. I thought we'd be talking about World Series previews at the beginning of the week.
I did too. It's both of these series have just turned on a dime, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about them.
We're gonna dive in, guys. This is all we have to talk about. There's no other teams playing. We got 4 teams left. We're gonna take it game by game, of course, like we've been doing. And it's Saturday night. We have a live game going on. We're gonna be looking at the Phillies and Diamondbacks. Spoiler alert: if you have been watching baseball, if you're listening to this, you probably have. We're in Game 5, pivotal Game 5. We're tied at 2, and so we're gonna kind of keep an eye on it. You know, we'll talk Astros, Rangers, and then when we get to Philly and Arizona, we're gonna dive in because first pitch is fixing to be thrown. Very exciting stuff. Are you ready to go, Will?
Let's do it, man. This is exciting.
Let's do it, baby. All right, Game 1. Rangers take it 2-0. Jordan Montgomery, boy, he was near perfect in 6.1 innings. The Rangers got on the board early in the top of the second via RBI single off the bat of Jonah Heim. Big fantasy standout this year. Texas doubled that lead in the top of the 5th with the Leody Taveras solo shot. And then their bullpen was perfect the rest of the way to shut out the Astros. The big key play in this was, of course, Altuve getting doubled up late. He stepped kind of over second base and then tried to go back to first, and he did not touch the base. So we'll dive into that. Then Game 2, of course, Houston is down 1-0 now. The Rangers took Game 2 as well. Big game, 5-4 win for them. They jumped on Framber early. There were 4 hits sandwiched between a throwing error by Valdez, leading to 4 runs before the fans could even settle into their seats. Jordan would answer back with a solo shot because that's all he does in October, Will. But Jonah Heim, there's that guy again, did the same thing, a solo shot. Here's the deal. Evaldi was really sharp. Struck out 9 over 6 innings pitched. And most notably, did you see bases loaded jam in the 5th? Man, it was unbelievable. He pulled a rabbit out of the hat with that. Alvarez actually went deep again to cut the scoring to 1, 5-4, and that's where it would hold. Leclerc got 4 outs out of the bullpen, and the series locked down 2-0 Rangers. Dude, I mean, what'd you take away from the top 2 games in Houston?
Yeah, it was. I tell you what, it was kind of clinical by the Rangers, really. Jordan Montgomery. I tell you what, he has turned into. I'll be the first one to admit he's turned into a way better pitcher than I ever thought he would be.
Yeah.
If you would have told me, even at the beginning of this season, that if Jacob deGrom goes down and if Max Scherzer isn't himself and struggling, that Jordan Montgomery is going to be your number 1 for the Rangers, I would be like, that's not good.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, man, he has been nothing but solid. He was solid in the regular season. And that was kind of the story for me, really, Game 1, to shut down that Houston lineup.
Yeah.
To get on, at home, to get on top of the series 1-0. To strike out Jordan Alvarez, Mr. Playoffs, 3 times in one game. That's impressive. So he was the story. He was the story for me.
Yeah, I believe it's the only time it's happened this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if, you guys listen, if you watch the game, they did not look good, the strikeout. He had a perfect plan. He'd hammer inside. He was just stayed out of the middle of the plate, really. He'd hammer to get the 2 strikes on the inside and then breaking ball away. And, dude, it's like you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And he'd still swing and miss. That's been a big thing. I mean, even in Game 5, which we'll talk about, which he started, it's almost like they're not picking up the spin on that curveball. And it's just they're not competitive. A lot of these are bouncing in and they're swinging over it. So he has got them in the rocking chair. I like everything you said about Game 1. Big start from him. Offense did enough. You look at Justin Verlander, kind of gets lost in this game, right? Because
correct.
He was wasn't bad.
He was solid.
just no run support. That's going to happen. And then the Rangers bullpen, we keep waiting for it to show its ugly face, and up until this point in this game, they're getting the job done. I mean, Chapman looks shaky, of course, but other than that, it is. I mean, this was like the 6th win in a row, 6 straight coming into the playoffs. So, hottest team in baseball. Did you see the double up on Jose?
I
what do you
did
think
not.
happened
I
there?
actually did not see that.
Yeah. So, for anybody who saw it, well, you saw it. If you didn't see it, deep fly ball from Bregman, caught. The Crawford box juts out, and then you're kind of in the shadows on the track there. Evan Phillips, who's never played left field at that stadium. I mean, Evan Carter, thank you. Phillips is watching this game. He is the closer for the Dodgers.
In L.A., yep.
We didn't see him a lot this playoffs.
Not.
Thank you, Will. I got your boy's name wrong. Evan Carter, man, he was flying around that left field making all kinds of plays.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it looked kind of harmless from Altuve. Like, obviously he's going to get back, but he leaned over second base, and his foot went off the base, and then instead of touching it again, he just ran straight back to first.
Got you.
And big heads up by the infielders of the Rangers to notice that, because they threw it right in. He stepped on it. Umpire, which you got to imagine his only job is to look at second.
Right.
To make sure he touched it.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is the infield umpire doing right there?
Yeah.
Called him safe. So I'm watching the game like, okay, he's probably safe. Nope, definitely missed that call. I don't want to get too much into the umpire in both these series. I have been unimpressed. It's been pretty tough.
Yeah.
And then game 4, dude, pretty rough all the way around. If you're a Houston fan, what'd you like out of Texas out of there?
Yeah, I mean, this game, game 2, man, Texas just jumped on them quick. And I said before the series started, I said that a key for Houston was going to be to keep this thing close, to make the bullpen a factor. And game 2 was the exact recipe. If you're a Rangers fan or play for the Rangers, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to get off to a big lead, get plenty of cushion, and that's exactly what they did. And Houston even, they were starting to kind of claw back little by little, but it was too little too late. And so, at this point in the series, up 2-0 going home, if you're Texas, you have to feel good about things, and I mean, another quality start as well out of a starting pitcher. And so, I mean, you could not have asked for anything more as far as the Rangers in those first 2 games.
The perfect start if you're a Texas fan. I agree with you. Let's keep rolling. Let's hit the next 2 games, and then I want to do game 5 by itself because there's so much going on. So game 3, the Astros take it 8-5. Mad Max Scherzer's back as the series shifts to Arlington. He was out for 36 days. I didn't have that in my book. I knew it was early September, but that is a long time. He looked sharp early in the first inning. I mean, quick work of the Astros. But after that, loaded the bases in the second. He had Yordan 0-2 and then hit him on the back foot with a curveball. That's a tough way to lose a guy. And Houston put up a 3 spot thanks to that pass ball. I don't really know what happened. It looked like maybe he didn't lean forward enough to block the ball, Will. And it got away from Jonah Heim. And then he's always up, it feels like, when there's ducks on the pond for Houston. It's Martin Maldonado. And he actually came through. Pretty solid shot, a 2-run single. He actually got thrown out trying to go to second. Sweet guy. Altuve would smack a solo homer the following inning, and then in the 4th, it was an RBI single for Dubon. That made it 5-0 Houston. Christian Javier, the third co-host, solid once again. 2 earned runs, 5.2 innings. Should have been 6. That last one was the ball that got up on Tucker. That was pretty wild. You don't see that often in playoff games.
Right.
The star on the Lone Star State, I guess they're both from Texas, aren't they? The Rangers, Josh Young, 2 2-run shots to keep him in it in the 5th and the 7th. But Yordan is the man. He had the insurance RBIs, and he locked this win away for the Astros, and this is what broke the Rangers' streak. This key plays for this game, Will, we had 2 incredible defensive plays. Leody Taveras' home run robbery of Yordan Alvarez, which was absolutely nuts. And then maybe not technically as clean, but just for where we were in the game, it was 5-2, runner on second, a ball laced from Adolis Garcia. It's a name we're going to talk about a few times. Brantley made a really solid running catch.
Yes.
I mean, he's every bit of 35, 36, and he made a great play to hold, that ended the inning, hold the lead 5-2, and obviously very important there. Let's hit Game 4 real quick, Will. The Astros took that one 10-3 to even the series. Neither starter for the teams made it out of the third inning. Andrew Heaney got the worst of the two. He was bounced after giving 3 runs over. He got 2 outs. Bregman ripped a 2-run triple, and then you guessed it, Jordan chased him in with a single. Texas fought back, though, tied the game at 3 after an Adolis Garcia home run, Josh Young sac fly, and then Seager went deep on a pitch that was like at his eyes. It was pretty awesome. Astros would score the next touchdown, however. Sac fly from Jordan, 3-run shot from our main man, Jose Abreu, finally waking up in Houston. Chas McCormick added a 2-run shot. And then the bullpen, Hunter Brown came in, had 3 great innings, and Phil Maton had 2. And that was the game there, Will, 10-3. The big play here, and I got to know your opinions. Simeon was doubled up at first base with runners on the corner. And the ball, Abreu caught the ball and then touched his glove in the back pocket. It was pretty wild, man. What'd you see these middle 2 games?
Yeah. Here's my thing. I think that I think it's really easy to second guess Max Scherzer being in there in Game 3. It's so easy to say, "Oh, what are you doing? He's been out for over a month." But I mean, my gosh, it's Max Scherzer.
Yes,
you got to take your chances. It's not like they had anybody else, that really stood out, right? So. But you could tell, I mean, he did look good that first inning, but you could tell once Houston started getting to him, it's like, man, he just doesn't have it. And so anyways, I tell you what, my big takeaway though over these next 2 games, games 3 and 4, was Houston just started to really get into a groove. The lineup, even the bottom of the lineup, started producing key hits. And it just really felt like not that the Astros are never confident, but just the confidence level of that team felt like it's like, all right, guys, we're back. Like, we're the team that's been the giant of the AL in the playoffs these past 7 years or so. And it's just like almost like they got their groove back, and Texas kind of let them get their groove back.
Yeah.
And, if you're the Rangers and you're up 2-0 going back home and you kind of get your doors blown off really in the next 2 games, it can't be a good feeling, And I think this will be my last point on 3 and 4. I just think that in Game 4, I don't know how you felt, Cody, but when I saw that Andrew Heaney was starting, I'm like, man, I don't think Texas has a prayer. And with all due respect to Andrew Heaney, I've honestly never been impressed.
Yeah.
And you could tell in Game 3 that Houston was really starting to click offensively. And I just had a feeling that Game 4 was not going to go well. And sure enough, you're down, 4-0 and not even out 2 outs in the first inning. So, I mean, when you're down 4-0 in the first inning, obviously you still got the rest of the game to catch up, but man, that is a massive hole to dig out of. And so I just felt like in Game 3 and 4, Houston started to take control of the series, quite honestly.
Yeah, well, so, your first 2 games, you're looking at a situation where Rangers threw their best guys.
Yes.
And then if Houston were going to get back in this series, it was going to take depth. And depth in the name of, Javier and then Urquidy, which, he didn't have it. But guess who they could piggyback to, and they did fine. Like, you have Hunter Brown just hanging out, throwing 99. Like, he's gonna be good. I mean, he's young. He's going to figure out how to pitch with the stuff, and he's going to be good. Yeah, you're just not going to hold, in my opinion. And I got a lot of texts. It actually wasn't, I got some texts from a lot of people I work with, asking me if I was nervous about Houston. And I didn't love it. I didn't love where they were after 2 games and at home. But there's a lot of stuff. They're 8-1 now in Arlington this year, and I just think fundamentally they're the better team. And guess what? Sometimes those teams don't win. And that's okay. You run into a hot team like the Rangers, but and again, it sounds weird to say because we are talking about a first ballot Hall of Famer in Max Scherzer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at Scherzer or Christian Javier, the way they pitched recently,
right?
I would like Javier,
right?
And Houston, they did what they needed to do. Their offense still, I don't think is playing to 100% of their ability. Obviously, maybe Tucker woke up last night. We'll talk about it. But they grinded out at bats like they do, and they just, like you said, they never felt like they really lost their cool, even when they went down 0-2. And I honestly feel like the Rangers could do the same thing. We're gonna get into where we think these series are gonna land here shortly. So that's kind of my 2 thoughts. I thought, hey, now the depth shows up in these 2 middle games, and it went really how I thought it would. It was very similar to Dodgers in Arizona. Like, hey, if Arizona gets past Kershaw, they're not throwing anybody I'm impressed with. Felt the same way here.
Yeah. I felt like in games 3 and 4, like I pretty much knew Houston was going to win at least one of those games. Like I just knew they were.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, Texas is so hot. They've been playing so well.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that they would figure out a way to like kind of outscore Houston in one of those games.
It's a great call.
That's kind of the way I kind of just felt, because you're right. I think Houston's starting pitching depth, I think, is a massive advantage to them. And obviously we saw that play out. But I just felt like the Rangers lineup was just so good that they would figure out in one of those 2 games to win one of them and to get a 3-1 lead, up 3-1, you feel good, man, right?
Sure.
And
3 cracks.
But when they were not able to get one of those games and Houston's even the series again, it just felt like a massive missed opportunity that the Rangers really needed to take advantage of. Yeah. And my last thing, you mentioned kind of the talent. I actually think the Texas Rangers, I think they've got a little bit better roster than Houston. But I think that Houston we're seeing it kind of play out. I think Houston has 2 major advantages that I don't think Texas is going to be able to overcome. I think one of those you mentioned is the starting pitching. Once you get past those top 2, I think it's a massive advantage for Houston once you get past them.
Yeah.
And then the bullpen is like there is a seismic gap.
Yeah.
In the bullpen between those 2 rosters.
Yeah.
And I think everything else probably honestly favors the Rangers, I think, from a talent perspective. But those two major gaps right there, I think is going to end up costing them.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you can say offensively, you probably like the Rangers more. But pitching-wise, and Texas isn't bad defensively. They're both pretty sound defensively. I worry about Brantley in left and Altuve at second, then Seager at short. He's looked pretty good, but he can make a throw or 2 that's like, what is going on? I like Josh Jung at third as well. Just 2 good baseball teams. And you know what? I'm just glad we have a series because, like we said, after the first 2 games, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the shortest. We're going to be done before November.
Yeah.
And that's not the way we like it. Hey, let's get to the main course here, Will, man. We got Game 5. This was juicy. It's had lots of ups and downs. Fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's gonna. And I got some questions. We got a new segment I didn't even tell you about.
Cool.
Because I just want to surprise you. And
I love it.
The look on your face. So let's dive in. I'm going to read a little bit. Everybody sit back. Grab a cold
story
brewski.
time with Cody.
Here we go, baby. Astros take Game 5. We have a Game 1 rematch between Monty and JV. Bregman got the Astros on the board early with a solo shot. The score would stay that way until Nathaniel Lowe cranked the opposite field home run off of Verlander in the fifth to make it 1-1. Houston would respond immediately with an RBI single from Jose Abreu. That was after looking really foolish on the first two curveballs, Will. I mean, it was like, dude, what are you looking at? Bounced two curveballs, swung twice. Actually, I was at Chipotle. Turned the game off. Like, I don't want to watch this guy strike out again. Can't handle it. But no, he hit a rocket off of Corey Seager. It was nuts. The lead for Houston would be short-lived as Adolis Garcia absolutely demolished a 3-run shot off of Justin Verlander to give the Rangers the 4-2 lead. And you're thinking when you're watching it, that's the iconic moment. But it was just the appetizer, Will, because in the 8th, we got some fireworks as Adolis took a 99-mile-per-hour fastball in the arm. I mean, we're gonna talk about it. I gotta know your thoughts. He immediately turned to Maldonado, the catcher, and started barking at him, got in his face. We had some shoving going on. Umpire tried to get in the way. It was pretty wild. I think unsung hero, that guy. Listen, if Adolis Garcia is upset, I'm not getting in. I'm going to step out, and I'm going to let that absolute gazelle of a man do whatever he's going to do.
It was like Hulk Hogan, man.
It really was. I was like, I don't like your chances, umpire guy. But I think it was handled as well as it could have been as far as everybody's safety. Benches would clear and ejections. Brian Abreu, Adolis Garcia, and Dusty Baker, who Dusty did not want to leave. I don't know if you're watching. He seemingly was like refusing to leave for a second. Big key here, man. Leclerc was called upon thanks to an opposite field double in the bottom of the 8th. Lefty. It was my main man Tucker off of Adolis. Chapman, that's right. You had to pull him. You had to go to Leclerc. Leclerc got the last out, but then had to wait 25 minutes before returning to the mound in the top of the 9th to try and secure the victory, the pivotal Game 5 victory. Back-to-back walks is what happened after that that long layoff there, Will. That started the night, and that set the stage for Astros legend Jose Altuve to crank a 3-run home run. I actually thought Carter caught it when I was watching it live, the way it looked. Rangers would threaten in the bottom half, but Presley struck out Evan Carter to continue the dominance of the away team in this series. Something I wanted to point out, Presley actually had to get 5 outs because when Abreu got kicked out of the game, he was the one who came in. So pretty wild stuff. Let's talk about it, Will. Adolis Garcia got hit by that pitch. What did you see? Do you think it was on purpose?
I definitely think it was on purpose for sure. It was just when Adolis hit that massive home run and what was that, the 6th inning? You could just, and he had the celebration and stuff. You kind of knew something was probably going to happen later, especially given the history of these two teams. So, but yeah, I definitely think it was on purpose for sure. I mean, I don't think there's much doubt about that. So, but yeah, what I didn't like about it though, I'll say this: I didn't love how long it took to play out. I wish that there was a way to where it could have, I don't know, been taken care of in a little bit more timely fashion.
Sure.
I get it's a big moment, but it seemed like it just strung out. But yeah, to answer your question, it was on purpose.
Yeah. Well, okay. So when I saw it, and we were texting, I thought it was on purpose. I'm not going to lie. But when I, step back, you think about it, I actually kind of think it might have been by accident. Because, you don't want to put those two guys on. You're down by 2. It's the bottom of the 8th. You already walked the first guy. And if you're going to hit, I know what it looks like. I think if it wasn't in the scenario it was at, you're probably, you're probably thinking it was on purpose. Like if we're not in the playoffs, probably on purpose. But yeah, dude, it was gnarly. And then for him to bark at Maldi like that, and man, I thought he wrapped back around the pile, and I thought it looked like Martin was getting ready to throw hands, which then that gets kind of wonky. Real quick side note, there is a suspension pending for Brian Abreu, 2 games. Now, he's appealing it, and it looks like, it's probably going to get done. It either won't happen or it's going to be at the beginning of 2024. Not going to affect these playoffs. But it seems like, dude, I don't know about you. It seems like we need a third party. Time to dust off a brand new segment with Hot Wife, Hot Takes. That's right. My beautiful wife, Claire. Here we go. I need to ask her, was this on purpose?
So my answer to that is no. And I know that I'm an Astros fan, and I like to think that I have the personal insight to know that there might be some bias to to my opinion. But I do think that if you're tied in a series like that, and at such a pivotal game, to take the lead in the series, and what's more, you're down in the game itself, to actually intentionally hit a batter like that just seems so unwise. And I just can't believe the Astros would put themselves in that position during such a pivotal game. And I don't think Abreu should have been thrown out. I personally think that there was lack of control there, but that it was not intentional. And, there's an argument that might be made of, well, a pitcher getting thrown out like that would be comparable to a targeting call for a football player. And my response to that is, listen, if you're targeting, you're targeting. I mean, your head's down, your body's bent, like you know what you're doing. But let's talk about the pitchers who have had lack of control sometimes, and it happens. A lot of these pitchers, might not have wild pitches, but so many of them have control. But I don't feel like it's uncommon to lose control every once in a while just because your release is bad. If you look at Andrew Saalfrank for the Diamondbacks,
catching strays.
His pitches are all over the place. And I mean, even last night for the Rangers, Jose Leclerc, he had some pitches that were in the dirt right in front of home plate. And we're not even near the strike zone. So I just can't believe that where the Astros were, that they would do something like that. And what's more, I just feel like a little bit of grace needs to be given to pitchers, that sometimes, they have a bad release and hey, it happens. Like, I'm not a proponent for getting hit by a pitch, obviously, but I definitely don't think it was intentional.
I'm so proud of her. We were coming back from the grocery store, and she's getting fired up about this. We're talking about it. I said, why don't you record it, and I'll put it on the show? And she's like, done. And she comes up here. It took her way shorter than it did when I first started. I mean, shout out to Claire. Any thoughts on that, Will? It seems like she really doesn't like Andrew Saalfrank. He really seems to ground dude.
She took a big swat at poor Andrew Saalfrank for the Diamondbacks.
Dang, babe, he's got a family.
Right? You know what? I think she brings up good points, and for sure it happens. I just think it's very ironic that it just so happened to be against Adolis Garcia after he hit that massive shot in the 6th inning. So,
dude,
hey.
It's crazy, and we'll never know. I feel like just the context of where they were and the fact that if they lose that game, they go to the brand. Obviously, we know how it ends, but if they lose that game, they're one loss away from the series. I think that's the only way. I feel like it'll. Dude, if something doesn't happen in 24 between these two, I will be so surprised. These guys are going to go at it. For right now, though, Will, dude, how do you see the rest of this series? We're heading back to Houston. We're on an off day right now. How's the rest of this series going?
We were texting last night. I really believe that Houston snatched the heart out of the Rangers last night. Like, I really do. Like, I firmly expect Houston to win Game 6 and move on to the World Series. I think I think the Rangers have squandered all of their opportunities in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the series is done. I really do. And I mean, I am pulling for the Rangers, so I want them to win and pull this out. But I think Houston has. Like I said, I think they stole their heart last night in that series, and so I think it's done.
Yeah, the thing I'm most worried about is what kind of Framber are we going to get tomorrow? I think that's the only thing. Like, you're going up against arguably their best pitcher in Eovaldi. I mean, I know Montgomery's had 3 or 4 really great starts, but I get worried about Eovaldi versus Framber. I mean, Framber's ERA is like 11.5 or something this playoffs, and then you have Eovaldi, who I think's like 2, maybe 2.5. I mean, he's been pretty nasty. So we'll see. But if it goes Game 7, it's third co-host Javier versus Scherzer and company. I mean, do you give Scherzer the ball in Game 7? Who do you think gets the pill if it goes 7 for Texas?
I think it's all hands on deck. I think it'll be. I wouldn't be surprised if Scherzer either started the game or came in as the second guy in. Heck, I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan Montgomery got an inning or a couple innings.
Yeah.
So I think that it's one of those games to where, obviously, in Game 6 we're going to have. I'm drawing a blank. Eovaldi. So he will probably be unavailable.
But he'll be the only one.
To be honest with you, I think everybody else will be available if they do get to Game 7.
Dude, I love Game 7s, man. Everybody bring their cleats.
Yep.
And let's go win a baseball game. For a chance to go play in the World Series. Very exciting. Dude, let's move on to the National League because unless you got anything else on Houston. I need to make my prediction. I feel like
what do you think?
Could be Houston in 7. I like.
You think Texas is going to win Game 6?
Dude, I'm worried about Houston at home. And, well, for the sake of what I've been texting literally everybody after they went down 2-0, I guess I should say Houston in 6 because that's what, I really thought was going to happen. But when you just look at these, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say it's going 7. We'll see what happens, though, man. It's 2 great teams.
I think if somehow, some way, Texas wins Game 6, I think they have a great shot in Game 7. Like, I really do. But I just think that there is little to no chance Texas wins Game 6, given the circumstances that happened in Game 5, the way that it happened, how Texas lost all 3 games at home. Houston has all the momentum. They've got their swagger back. Yeah. Even though Framber has struggled, I get it.
Yeah.
I expect Houston to hit Eovaldi this go around, and I just don't think it's getting to Game 7. I think Houston has got this.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you were correct because they mash fastballs and he throws fastballs. But anyway, we'll see. We saw him 4 days ago, they saw him 4 days ago. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's talk D-backs and Phillies again. A series I think everybody kind of thought this is going to be kind of like a footnote in the Philadelphia Phillies World Series DVD. Who'd they play? It's going to be like a trivia question 15 years from now. Like, who'd they play on the way to the World Series in 23? Let's break it down. We're going to do the same thing, man. We're going to go 2-2 because holy moly donut shop. What a series. Okay, Game 1. Phillies take it 5-3. Phillies set the tone in the very first pitch. Kyle Schwarber hits the ball as far I've ever seen a baseball hit before. And then Harper sent one deep, one batter later to make it 2-0. Zach Wheeler in the battle of the Zacks. He went 6 innings pitched, striking out 8 and giving up 2 earned runs. Zach Gallen, who again is pitching right now. We're having a rematch right now, Will. He only managed to go 5 innings, which I guess isn't bad. But when you give up 5 earned runs, that's not great. The Diamondbacks got back in the game via a 2-run shot from Perdomo, their shortstop. I'm not going to say his first name, Will. It's like Gerardo or Gilrardo.
And then Gerardo or Geraldo or Gerardo. I think it's a silent G.
Word check with Will. Dude, it is. Yeah, I typed out the full name and I was like, I'm not man enough to say it. So let's just pause and work it out. So Perdomo hit the two-run shot. Phillies bullpen did do its job. It allowed an unearned run, but Craig Kimbrell came in and he earned his third save of the postseason. Here's what I want to know, dude. Did you see the Bryce Harper 31 birthday candle celebration, and were you like, I would have run through a wall, or this is the cheesiest thing I've ever seen?
No, dude, I'm a big fan of Bryce Harper, man. I thought it was cool. Yeah, I mean, I if it's one of those things, I feel like if people really don't like Bryce Harper, they're going to say that it's cheesy. Yeah. But as somebody who really appreciates what I think Bryce Harper is and what he does for that team, like, I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I might do it next year, turning 29.
Right?
Just walking into work, just do something cool like that. There's no way kids under 10 everywhere aren't doing that when they get on base. You would think, right?
100%. Little League baseball, you're going to see it everywhere.
Oh, it's going to be great, man. Speaking of things that were great, if you were a Phillies fan, Game 2, they took it 10-0. That's not a typo. That's the score of a big league baseball game in the playoffs. Story of the game was Aaron Nola. Kind of. I guess on the pitching side, that's the story, because the story of the game was the offense for the Phillies. Nola did look great, though. Once again in the playoffs, man, it's like he saved all his good starts for October. He went 6 3-hit innings, didn't give up any runs. The D-backs kept it close early as Merrill Kelly really didn't look that bad. Only gave up 3 hits. Only problem, Will, they were all home runs. 2 to Schwarber and 1 to Trey Turner, so that's tough. After he departed, those when it really got nasty. Joe Mantiply and Ryan Nelson, they combined for 6 earned runs in only 1 inning pitched between the both of them, and the game was pretty much over after that.
That's bad.
It's a 2-0 series league. Yeah, it's very. We were downtown watching that hockey game, and I looked down, and then I looked up, and it was like 8-0. I'm like, what the heck happened? I thought Jalen Hurts ran in there and scored a touchdown. First 2 games, Will. What'd you see? What'd you like?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. After the first 2 games, I thought this was gonna be a sweep. I really did. I'll be the first one to admit it. I just was like, oh, here comes the Phillies buzzsaw. And Arizona's just getting in the way of the train. And Zach Wheeler looked great. Nola was awesome. The lineup's still clicking, like top to bottom. At this point, this team looked literally unstoppable.
Yeah.
And so, we head to Arizona now for Game 3, and like I said, I'm thinking that they're just going to blow through them in Game 3 and 4 and take it away.
Let's do it. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but somebody was quoted from the Phillies as saying, like, we're going to jump in that pool when we clinch, which is, a little bit of a bummer now.
Didn't age very well.
It didn't, like milk, dude. It did not. I think it was their backup. I've read it was Garrett Stubbs, their backup catcher.
It's funny. It's always the backups that say stuff like this. It's never like Bryce Harper or Trey Turner making these quotes. It's the backup guy.
Yep. And let's talk about how the Diamondbacks got back into the series. But they took Game 3 2-1. They looked to regroup, returning home down 0-2. Top prospect Brandon P. Fat was lights out, putting the team on his back and holding the. Got him, folks. I got him. Brandon fought, but I was like, maybe if I throw it in there, we'll get Will to laugh. Late night Will laugh. It's the whole reason why I do this podcast, man. He was lights out, put the team on his back, held the Red Hot Phillies scoreless through 5.2. The manager was actually booed when they came to take him out of the game. He didn't give up a walk or anything, struck out the guy, and then here comes Torey
Lovullo.
Yep, coming in because the numbers, his ERA is 11 plus when he sees a lineup a third time.
Yeah.
Even though he's like having the game of his life. He struck out 9. I was pretty
Blake
tough.
Snell, does that ring a bell?
It sure it sure does. He was matched basically pitch for pitch by Ranger Suarez for the Phil. Yeah, he looked good. Incredible game as well. He struck out 7, throwing 5.1 scoreless. The offenses were quiet until the top of the 7th when Harper scampered home on a wild pitch, which granted the Phillies that first lead. It was 1-0. And then we have a Lourdes Gurriel double, RBI double in the bottom half to tie it up at 1. And one thing I wanted to point out here, remember the name. Pitch runner at first, Alec Thomas. He pitch ran for Tommy Pham. Remember, he'll slap you in the face if you don't treat him properly in fantasy football. He will punch you. So, because it is serious. Yeah, so Alec Thomas scores from first. Pitch runner, remember the name because I'm going to say it again here in a second. Phils would be held scoreless the rest of the way, and Ketel Marte, what a playoff season he's having. He continued his electric performance with a walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth. The key play here, man, I text you about it. Bottom of the seventh, with no outs and runners on the corners for the D-backs, Jose Alvarado was coming in and keeping the game 1-1. There was a double play ball, and it was hit to Trey Turner. Kind of pulled him towards third base.
Mm-hmm.
But our main man, Gurriel, he did not really freeze. He darted back to first. Turner turned, threw the ball to the second baseman, who then turned the double play. And I was trying to think. I have never seen that runner not score from third. And maybe you're thinking that's a little bit of a over, like hyperbole. No, seriously, never seen it. It was kind of a shock to me. I thought, well, at least the Diamondbacks have the lead. What did you see on that play? Because I thought they were trying to lose.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was definitely an odd base running play. I think the only thing that I could think about is maybe Gurriel thought that if Trey Turner, like if he ran and Trey Turner saw him running, that he would be able to throw him out coming home. I mean, that's the only thing that makes any kind of sense, and he didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I'm with you. I thought it was odd. It looked like once it played out, I was like, man, probably should have tried to score there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a tough call, unless you're there in that very moment. It is really hard. It's easy to second guess, but no, I'm with you. I'm sure that he would probably look back on that and be like, why didn't I run?
Yeah, the first step was kind of the downfall. Like if he freezes there,
yeah.
You'll have time if you flip it back to the third baseman to dive back. He darted back to third and went back to the base, and then when Turner turned and threw the ball to the second baseman, who I am literally blanking on. Stott, thank you. He threw the ball to Stott. You really can't run home there starting on third base because it'll be a triple play. So if he just freezes. And you either make him make that decision, like, okay, I'm going to walk you back to third, or I'm going to throw to second and do this double play. I think the first step and the fact that he didn't just kind of stand still, which I get it. I mean, it's a close game, it's a playoff game, and you're kind of dealing on instincts there. But I think that was the downfall of that game. And then he got thrown out again. Trying to score from third. He was the first out and the only out in the bottom of the ninth. Before Ketel Marte, who is just literally on fire. He's
clutch, man.
13 game. Every playoff game he's ever been in, he's got a hit.
He's been their best player. He's at least been their best hitter. I'll say that.
Yeah, and just hopping into the fantasy mobile for a second. I wonder if this doesn't up his stock a little bit. Anybody watching?
I think it will.
The D-backs, yeah, because he can do it all, man. Power, speed.
He's been a huge key piece for them this postseason.
Yep, no doubt.
Corbin Carroll gets all the pub, and rightfully so. He's great, but Ketel Marte's been their best, most consistent player. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, I'm with you, dude. Let's hit Game 4, and then we get to we live update Game 5. Why not?
Yep.
Of course, if you're listening to this, you know how 5 went, right?
Yeah,
it'll be in the future. So, stay with us here. It's about being present in life, guys. Here we go. Game 4. D-backs win it 6-5 in what would be a bullpen game for both squads. Teams were held scoreless in the first. Emmanuel Rivera, that's their third baseman, he hit an RBI single. Probably the D-backs third baseman will. Hit an RBI single in the bottom of the second after a tailor-made double play ball was hit to their pitcher, but he seemingly forgot how many outs there were because he just walks it to first and flips it over there. Christian Walker was going from first to second. Not any urgency. I think he thought he was, going to get gunned out. So then he manages to survive, and then the Rivera hit comes in, and he scores. He had made it over to third, so he ended up scoring easily. But pretty big mental blunder there to make it 1-0 D-backs. A RBI single from Gabriel Moreno, who is quickly becoming a star in this league, would make it a 2-0 advantage for the D-backs. However, the Phil's bats would come alive. Schwarber hit yet another home run. That makes 4 for him this playoff season. And an RBI double from Brandon Marsh started the scoring after Claire's favorite pitcher, Andrew Salfrank, loaded the bases. How did he load the bases, Will?
He walked them.
3 walks. She's not wrong. Can we just say that? He loaded the bases with 3 walks. Alec Bohm would hit a bouncing ball to the third baseman, Rivera, who would try to make the absolute all-star play, but it was an errant throw home, allowing Schwarber and Turner to score behind him. Heads up running by Turner, who never stopped running after that ball bounced away from Gabriel Moreno. A sacrifice fly from Trey Turner the following inning will put the Phils up 5-2. In the bottom of the 7th, Christian Walker drew a bases-loaded walk that tightened the score to 5-3, and the stage was set for Arizona the next inning. Alec Thomas, remember, he was the guy who scored from first in the last game to get them their first run. He came in and he hit a game-tying home run off of Craig Kimbrell. Now, I was asleep when this happened. I put my headphone in, I was listening to the radio call, and it woke me up when he hit the home run, but I knew it was tied, and I couldn't stay awake, Will.
I was watching it.
Yep, and I'd said before we hit record, I felt like Kimbrell didn't. It wasn't a bad pitch. He painted the outside corner, and then you told me.
So he missed his spot. He had actually pitched him pretty well and up to that pitch in the at bat. Thomas had fouled off a couple, but it was pretty obvious he was trying to get in on him, especially with a fastball. And that particular pitch, fastball kind of leaked on him. He caught a little bit. It was kind of middle outside because Thomas is a left-handed hitter. But it kind of leaked out back over the plate, and he didn't miss it. He hit it right into the pool in right center.
He was able to extend. I think Garrett Stubbs was over there. He fished it out. A few batters later, Gabby Moreno would put the D-backs up for good as he laced that RBI double to left, giving the D-backs their first lead of the game. Sewald, what an absolute stud. Shut down the Phillies in the 9th, and we have a series, folks.
We do.
Tied at 2-2. The Snakes are alive. Have you seen all the T-shirts and stuff that originated from that sign? Okay, so I'll send you a picture after the podcast. This person essentially just went onto Word, put in Times New Roman, and then it just said Snakes Alive. And they grabbed that, and I think they made T-shirts or towels. It was on every seat, and it's just white. It's just the most basic looking thing, and the internet was roasting this person. It goes hey, if you don't have time to make a sign, buddy, it's okay. Just don't bring the sign. I'll send it to you. You'll laugh, dude. It's pretty funny. Dude, this is a D-backs team that will not quit. What did you like about this game?
Man, it is hard to believe that that Arizona has even the series because, to be honest with you, Phillies outplayed them even in Game 3 and 4. Philadelphia was up, in the 7th or 8th inning in Game 3, blew that lead. Same thing, obviously, last night. We just talked about how Kimbrell had a 2-run lead, blew it, and lo and behold, Arizona has tied the series. And I tell you what, man, it's Philadelphia is clearly the better team in this series. There is no doubt about it. But, man, if you are the superior team and you just let an inferior opponent hang around and allow them to gain confidence like they are, man, anything can happen. Yep. And that's where we are. We're in a best 2 out of 3 right now. And, man, if you're Philadelphia, you really, really need to win this game tonight. You need to win Game 5 to get some momentum back, because if Arizona gets to where they only have to win one game in Philadelphia, that's doable. Yeah, that is doable. Now, if Philly wins tonight, I don't think there's any way Arizona's winning 2 games at the bank.
I agree with you.
So I think Game 5 is huge tonight for
You
Arizona.
got it in front of you?
I don't know, but Arizona's got to win tonight to have a shot, because I don't see them winning 2 games in Philadelphia. But
Yeah.
for them to be tied right now going into tonight's Game 5 is remarkable.
Yeah. So middle of the third, 2-0 Phillies. Snot.
Playoff
Stott,
Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, he got some ducks in the pond early, but got out of it. Stott singled to right. Schwarber scored, and then Harper stole home. What? I gotta see it, man. This dude's something else. I saw out of the corner of my eye, Gabriel Moreno was, I think, when Harper. I didn't realize he was still in home, but Harper essentially, we kind of had like a bang play at the plate, and it looked like he got caught in the head again. This poor guy's going through it.
Moreno did?
Yeah, and so they were looking at him. I think he stayed in the game. It appears that he did stay in the game, and he's 1 for 1. He's having a great go at
Dude,
things, man.
I thought about this. So is there anybody in this entire postseason that has potentially helped their fantasy prospects for 2024 more than Gabby Moreno?
I mean, maybe if you want to go pitching side, Montgomery. But as far as hitter, I think a lot of the people who we knew were great have been great.
Yes, I agree.
And I think and we both like him, right?
Yes.
But
I did not think that he had this type of bat, though. Like, I've been surprised at how, I don't know, he seems to just be clutch. I mean, I thought he was more of a, for lack of a better term, I thought he was more of a defensive guy.
Yeah.
Like, somebody like I hate to compare the two, but somebody that you think of like a Yadi Molina.
Yeah.
But, man, he's been impressive.
He really has, dude.
And I think he's going to be on a lot of breakout lists for next year.
I could not agree more, man. It feels like he's going to be a guy. We haven't seen him do it the whole year. So
but he's so young.
He is so young, and but it is a grind to catch a pitching staff like that and do this. He's obviously had an incredible series. I do feel like it's one of those things where if he's your only option, you probably don't feel that great about your catcher.
Yeah.
But I'm excited when we get into these breakdowns here in a few weeks to kind of see where we end up putting him on. And dude, amongst the other people, he's like NL Rutschman light.
Yes.
He's really, dude, he is. I tell you what, he's clutch.
He's
clutch. He's clutch.
I just really, really like what I've seen out of him. He is, out of all the Diamondbacks players other than Ketel Marte, I think he's been the most impressive other than Marte this whole postseason. I've been nothing but impressive out of Moreno.
Yep.
You're right. Like, I mean, you know how much I love Adley Rutschman, but I mean, I don't think he's at that level. Yeah. But what he means to that Arizona team, man, he is a massive reason why that team is where they are, 2-2 against Phillies.
I agree 100%. Dude, anything else? Anything you want to say before we head on out of here?
Man, I tell you what, it's been 2 really, really good. I feel like the playoffs, like some of the series leading up to the championship series, have been, I don't know, they haven't had a whole lot of drama, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But we've gotten it out of these 2 series that are going on right now. Obviously, we don't know for sure what the World Series is going to look like. We've got another couple of games to figure that out. But huge game tonight in Arizona. This game very well might determine the series, quite honestly. And we'll see what happens with the Rangers and Astros. Can the Rangers rebound after what's happened to them at Globe Life the last few games? So it'll be interesting to watch that tomorrow. But hey, looking forward to these series playing out, and then the World Series starting at some point in the next week or just over a week.
100%, dude. Yeah, guys, we're bear with us. We're gonna kind of see how this plays out, and we will reconvene and we'll update you on how these series went, and then break down the first few games of the World Series. It's dude, It's unbelievable how fast this has flown to me.
Yep.
And I guess that's taking it a week at a time. I mean, slow down, baseball.
Yeah.
But dude, I just wake up and look forward to it, man. It's like it's gonna be a photo finish between all four of these teams, and there's really not a matchup that I wouldn't mind seeing. You know what I mean? I think it's all gonna be good. Guys, we really appreciate you. If you made it this far, go find a mirror, look at yourself, and say, hey, I'm a pretty good person because I support these two guys, and that's very kind, and we love you for that. Reach out to us on Twitter at BTH_Cody and at Will Sism. We're also on YouTube. I made Will laugh a little bit today, so if you want to see what he looks like when he laughs, that's pretty cool, and it's a feeling I like to chase out there. So, hey, check out the YouTube video, hit a like, send us a comment, or, do whatever you want. It's, it's your world and you're just living in it. Hey, we appreciate you guys. But until next time, thanks for listening to episode 53 of Bringing the Heat.